Amber Wave Radio 106.9.
Well, good evening and welcome to Tiger Talk Wednesday night here with the carmusgo.co.uk. Thanks to our sponsor. Thanks to Mike for sponsoring the show. Really good of you to sponsor the show. And good to have, did we have a win or something last night? Because we seem to have a full house on here rather than just a couple of stragglers like there was last week. Evening to you, James.
Yeah.
Evening to you, Adey. Who wins, I reckon?
Evening to you, Jan.
Good evening.
Evening to you, Chris.
Good evening.
And evening to you, Paul.
Good evening.
Well, me, Chris and Paul could be bothered last week. Jan and James. Jan, you was sunning yourself.
Yeah, I was having that 16-course meal. I have to say some of them were tiny courses, but I just couldn't get out of that, sorry.
There'd have to be tiny courses for 16. And James, you was just scarving.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, well, fair enough.
Fair enough. But we've got a full house tonight, and good to have you tuned in tonight. If you're wherever you're watching us from, and if you want to get in touch with us, you can do. Just give us a message on whatever platform you're watching us on, or go on to WhatsApp and go to 01482 772 663, and the messages will come through to my desk here. So 3 wins on the bounce. Let's come to you, James.
Well, where do you start with it, really? I mean, obviously, we've spoken about Sheffield United, so we've covered that one. But, I mean, the Birmingham game had absolutely everything, didn't it? I mean, red cards, penalty, bags of goals, scraps, everything. Poor referee, you couldn't really ask for much more from a championship game, could you? And then, obviously, yesterday, I mean, best first half performance I think I've seen so far this season. I think we've already said that before on a podcast, to be honest. So, second half, under the cosh a little bit, but managed to fight it out and get the win. So I was really pleased with it.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, me and Jan was at the Birmingham game on Saturday, and we weren't sat too far apart. And me and Jan was giving each other very funny looks at times when some decisions was like going our way and things like that, weren't we, Jan?
Yeah, we were indeed. I mean, we were also sitting on our nerves, weren't we? Because
definitely were.
Talk about riding your luck. But to be fair, with what you said about the referee, James, I think he wasn't great, was he? But he wasn't biased. He was as bad for both sides.
Both teams, yeah. Yeah,
I mean, they was singing, weren't they? You're not fit to referee. And to be fair, I was singing that before they was singing it, because they'd done there was a lot of things that didn't go for us starting off in that game. And I was thinking, yeah, he's not a very good referee, but yeah, he wasn't just bad for bad for Birmingham. It was bad for us as well. Jan's nodding. You need to say yes, Jan. People on the radio can't see you nodding.
All right, then. Yeah, it was definitely. I mean, I think for me, the first thing, it was that foul on Akintola. Now fair enough, he shouldn't have retaliated or said something to either the liner or the crowd. But thereafter, it just went downhill, didn't it?
It did. He had no control over the game, didn't the referee? And he's got a little bit of learning to do. And no better game than Hull City Birmingham versus Hull City to sort of get you bedded into the championship, is they? No. Well, what did you think about it?
It would have been that sort of extreme a game, to be fair. I mean, it's not as though we're big rivals, is it? I mean, we're both at similar positions in the league. Obviously, they'd had an unbeaten, 18 months run at home. I wouldn't have thought it was going to be that much, 10 bookings. I think he was very inexperienced, and that probably showed in the game, because it was a mad game, to be fair. Absolutely crazy. If he was unbiased and just I'll go to a football match, probably one of the best matches to go to, because everything happened in one game, just about. Sending off, booking, own goals, scrapping, managers getting carded. There couldn't be much else going on. What you got of a football match, what you could pick. Our goals was really good, I thought. That header by Regan Slater. I mean, he gets a lot of abuse off people, doesn't he? And the lad had a really good game. He's had an hand in every goal, I thought. He started a move on one, got involved in another, and he scored that one. And he was nowhere near the area when he scored initially. He had to run about 15 yards to get onto the edge of the area. And it was a really good header. I was glad for him. It was nice that Coyle crossed it as well, because he's another one who gets plenty of abuse. So, I think, the pair of them, £50,000 for Regan Slater. It's nothing, is it? And he puts his
Nothing.
soul into every game. He's maybe not the most technically gifted or best player we've got, but he puts his heart and soul in. He's very rarely out injured. He's played at positions that he maybe don't want to play. He's played under about 5 managers who all have different ways of playing. And I think the kid gets a bit too much stick, to be fair. So I was really glad he scored that goal and had a hand in the other goals as well. And it was a good win, really, at the end of the day. 3 point. I'd have took a point quite happily. So, it was a real good win, I thought.
I agree with you. It was a really good win. I enjoyed the game. It had everything. And yeah, away games, they don't come much better than that, to be quite honest with you. So I was really glad that I'd got the ticket and gone. Paul, you're going to take over for me. But Chris, have your say on Birmingham. I've just got to pop off for a minute.
Yeah, well, what a game. 3 points. What more do you need to say? No, I wasn't there on Saturday. I've only been to Birmingham away once. Quite some years ago, and I remember how raucous it was. The crowd were very noisy. They're sort of right on top of the pitch, aren't they? So if it was out like that on Saturday, then it's a hard place to go. And yeah, you said about the referees, some strange decisions, but didn't favour either team. And yeah, it's just a great team performance. That my only criticism would be that we'll let them get that second goal towards the end. When they're down to 10 men for best part of 30 minutes of a game, like the game management and decision making needs to be a little bit better for me. But yeah, ultimately you're happy to come away with a win. And again, on Regan Slater, I think personally, I normally don't like to knock players, and I know beginning of the season, I can't remember which game it was, I did on one of these podcasts sort of say I was a little bit disappointed with him in one game. He was sort of, he looked a bit lethargic around the pitch, but the last 3 or 4 games since he's been back in the starting 11, he's been fantastic. Cannot knock him at all. He's been all over the pitch, covered every blade of grass, blocking shots, making tackles, and starting counter-attacks, and now getting that well-deserved goal. So, yeah, Regan's been fantastic, as just about everybody was. There was only really Akintola that didn't play particularly well, I think, at Birmingham. Yeah, great performance, great win, great 3 points.
I agree with.
Who was there, Jan? What was the atmosphere like?
I was going to say I agree with you. To be fair, they were really quite. They were quiet at first, and then we had a good patch. Obviously, then we scored. It wasn't until that they sort of got a little bit back into the game. I mean, when the crowd did sing, they really did sing, but it wasn't. I like going to Birmingham, or normally I do, but it was a little bit intense on Saturday, and the stewarding wasn't great. There's the usual sort of taunts from the away fans to the home fans and vice versa, and it seemed to be the away fans that they were going at, whereas there was some sort of really proper adults being absolutely vile in the home stands, and that they just seemed to turn their back to it. And then they were throwing things, so we were below their upper tier, and the home fans were throwing things off the top tier. So there were like those plastic glasses things that you get, and cans and coins. I mean, the lady behind me on the bus coming home, she said that she'd emailed them as we were from the coach to say, I genuinely felt unsafe for myself and my son. I mean, the stewarding was just non-existent. And I know they don't get paid much, but somebody, it didn't feel safe. It wasn't the normal atmosphere you would have there.
I think it's out to do with the fact that they've got a fair bit of money and they've sort of.
Well,
I think this season a lot of people expect them to push for the top 6.
Yeah, their expectations are incredibly high. I get that, but there was almost like an arrogance, or we're too good for you, and I suppose we're going to discuss last night as well. But they did have a lot of really good individuals, but as a collective, they didn't do it. The same last night, I would say as well. And there were some shocking decisions, as we've already alluded to. I mean, they should have had at least another penalty probably, but equally, I don't think it was a red card when the keeper brought down, was it Joffrey? But I do think the guy that had a go at Kyle Joseph did, and their manager was in our technical area. How on earth he didn't get booked? And thinking back to a couple of weeks ago when Sergi said one of his assistants got booked, but he said the booking goes to the coach. So on that basis, they did book somebody in there. Well, they booked Tommy Huddleston. So you'd assume that'll go on Davis's record, because that's what Sergi said the other day. So I don't know. I genuinely don't know how that works. But how on earth he didn't get booked in that melee, I'll never know.
Yeah.
But
What do
it
you
was
think, James,
exciting.
about Birmingham being a bit big for the boots? So expecting more than they're maybe going to produce.
So I was there in the upper tier and completely agree with what Jan was saying about throwing missiles at us, and the behaviour from the fans was absolutely vile. And like I said, they just carry themselves as if they've come into this league with a sense of entitlement that they deserve. They deserve to be here, and they deserve to be mixing it up with the best in the league around the top end of it. I don't know whether or not potentially it's partly to do with the media attention that surrounded them in the pre-season and the money that they've spent as well. And obviously, this thing with Wrexham and Birmingham having the American owners, it's all anyone wanted to talk about over the summer. Whether that's got to their fans' heads a little bit or not, I'm not sure. But the fact they broke the points record in League One might have something to do with it as well. They've come back off that season, basically having never seen their team lose at home, to then it basically being probably, I imagine, the worst performance they've seen from their team at home this season. At the end of the day, they seem to just be being a little bit bitter about it because we're little old Hull City and we turned up and did them over in their own backyard. Really, that's the way I see it.
I'd agree, and I'd say I went to Wrexham as well. The difference in the atmosphere and in the fans said we were the best fans that they'd ever seen and ever come across. And it was really friendly, and it was a much smaller stadium. But they were really welcoming. I mean, it was a tatty stadium. I mean, even the toilets didn't work. There was no water in the toilets. They were bringing in hand sanitizer, and they were running out of stuff. It was as different as chalk and cheese going to Wrexham and going there, to be fair.
It's a shame, really, isn't it? Because you'd think Birmingham would be a place you'd want to go to.
It usually is. Honestly, Paul, it's usually okay, but it wasn't. It just wasn't the same.
It could be this fact that they've got plenty of money. What do you think, Chris? I know you weren't there. What do you?
Yeah, I mean,
what people have said.
Looking from the outside in, I got to agree with James. Like, say, you come off that record-breaking season in League One. Yeah, you often bring a bit of momentum up with you. You've got a bit of confidence. I've had a few, marquee signings. For me, it's just great to be the ones to bring them back down to earth with a bang, with a performance like that. It was going to happen eventually, wasn't it? It's very rare that a team, will come up and, I know Wrexham's done it in the lower divisions and money can help you do that. But when you get to sort of Premiership, Championship, League One, that any team that goes up, off, no matter how much money you throw at it, it's going to be difficult because every team's pretty balanced. There's not a great deal of difference, is there, between the top of the league and the bottom of the league. That saying, anybody can beat anyone on any given day in the Championship. So, if the fans have got that sense of entitlement, let them, because it's going to hurt more when they lose. So, and if we did it to them, then...
the fact that we was the team everybody expected to finish in the bottom three, didn't they? Beginning of the season, we had no money to spend. We were buying whoever we could get our hands on, sort of thing. But we've turned out a good set of players. I mean, it's probably as good a set of players as we've had for a long while. And maybe that was it. They thought, well, they shouldn't be coming here beating us when we've spent all this money and they've, scrapped and scraped to get together what they can. It's maybe that sort of thing, I don't know. But it's a shame, really, when away supporters have to put up with that sort of abuse. I know there's banter and things like that, but, throwing things isn't the right way to carry on.
It definitely crossed the line, yeah.
But based on that, I think that's why it tastes better for us, that bitter sweetness, because completely. People from the outside were writing us off. We had the transfer embargo. So outside looking in, you're going, they're just going to sign any frees, who they can. And then we obviously get some really good signings, some that, that hope to get, some that they've obviously missed out on, so they've gone for others. But then you've got the manager and the backroom staff that have really sort of brought them together, that, that sense of wanting to fight for one another. And maybe what's going on around the clubs, heightened that. certainly from the fans. Like you've probably anybody shouting Hull City, the favourites to go down and the bookies and this supercomputer, and then look at where we are now. It's fantastic. We've already got. Are we equal home wins to what we had last year, or one off it or something?
Yeah.
So it just accelerates that positivity for us, doesn't it? On so much negativity, or what could have been negative stuff over the summer, to be where we are now with a team playing great, a manager that seems to, really, wants the best for us, and he's got us playing good football, attractive football, scoring goals. It just heightens that, positivity around the club.
It certainly does, and I've heard everything that you were saying, and I agree with what you've been saying. It wasn't the best away experience. There was a lot of problems. To be fair, I had a chat with a Birmingham fan on the way to the stadium. We had a really good conversation, about all different things. Birmingham getting HS2 and various other things, as well as the football. Really nice guys who I walked to the stadium with. So it's a select few that cause these problems again, isn't it? And maybe, as you say, a little bit of entitlement that happens. And it can go one or two ways, and maybe went the wrong way. Sarah asked, did the Birmingham manager tell Sergei to go back to Croatia? Well, that's what was, what do we say the word is?
Alleged.
Alleged. That's the word. He was alleged.
It wasn't the manager, was it? The manager told him to F off or F you.
Yes, that's right.
But it was a member of the
security guard.
Allegedly said it.
Member of the security team, and it shouldn't be said. You are right, Sarah. It shouldn't be said. And Sergei don't want to put it any further. And Sergei is big enough to take these things. He'll take it, but it shouldn't be said in football at all. And it's not good. So we don't want to see that sort of thing. And I think because they've spent a lot of money, they expect a little bit more. It don't make them a better club than us. You're right there, and I think that it's maybe brought them a bit back down to earth because they hadn't lost at home for so long before we went. Was it 49 games or something they hadn't lost at home?
29.
29 was it, James?
Yeah.
29 games they hadn't lost at home for before we went, and we've then beat them at home. So it's something that they're not used to. Maybe they're going to have to get more used to it in the Championship because it's not League One, is it? It's the Championship now, and anything can happen in any game. I said before that game and last night's game, and I took a draw at both. So to get 2 wins is really good for us, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I said out the last 4 games, the one that you'd thought you'd got the most points out would have been Preston, and we didn't. That's the one we drew.
Sarah said that she feels more safer at Millwall than Birmingham.
Yeah, I agree.
That's a big statement. It really is. A great win at Birmingham, and then we go and have a game against Leicester City, and we was in the we came out of the Tigers Trust Arena. Said see you on Saturday to Jeff. And we all said, Jeff included, that we'd all take a draw last night. So then we'll go get 3 points from that game as well. And that first half was just, really, really nice football to watch. I really enjoyed watching the football last night. And I thought it's some of the best football we've played in a long time, to be quite honest with you. And it was that old saying of a game of 2 halves. Wasn't it, James?
Definitely.
You're not talking, James. It's not working. You need to try and do something different because your mic's not working.
No, it muted me on the call as well.
There you go.
Dogs was barking. Sorry. We've been like that a lot this season, though, haven't we? I mean, how many games can we say that we've had games of 2 halves? We've not really had a 90-minute performance just yet, and I don't know whether or not that's the fact that we've not, fielded our strongest 11 yet, or but we definitely came under the cosh in the second half last night. It was definitely very nervy, but. I said at the start of the episode, it's the best performance I've seen from a City team in a very long time. That first half, and I mean Miller, they couldn't handle him. There's all this said about Fatu, and he's in no doubt an absolutely quality player, and cost however much money for Leicester. And when Giles had to come off the pitch and we had Firmino playing that left back position, we couldn't really contain him anymore. It was just fortunate for us that we didn't really see the best out of him. And obviously they came really close with was it Harry Winks who hit the bar with a really nice shot. Obviously their goal was wonderful. There's not much else that you can say about that really. There's nothing Panda could do about it, nothing the defenders could do about it. It came out of nowhere really. And like
it was well wet, James. It was a well wet goal.
I just mean where there was around the box, you can see the shot. It just kind of slits between two of our players and dinks straight into the top corner. I'm not saying that the build up around it wasn't well wet. Of course, that was. But like I said, for all the shots, and I think they ended up with something like 17 shots on goal, which, to be fair, for our standards, is pretty low to concede that amount of shots. But I think throughout the game, the actual shots on target we had was from high quality chances. So if anything, I would still say, apart from the crooks in the second half, we generally speaking had the better game than Leicester, to be honest.
Yeah, they changed their style in the second half and made it a bit more difficult for us to get the possession and to get the freedom that we had in the first half. So, you've got to give them credit for that. We did still have a couple of chances, but we should have been well out of sight in that first half. We had more chances. Carl Joseph has a couple. I thought he could have put one of them away. And he's got everything else. He just can't seem to put the ball in the back of the net when we need it, Jan.
No, I agree. But I mean, what I would say is they came out second half guns blazing, didn't they? Yeah. And their subs made a big difference for me. Our subs were more or less enforced on us, and I think they weakened us considerably. And we were in a different again. I mean, I don't want to be Debbie Downer, but I mean, Gabe, is that Gabe? What? I don't think he did much, and I don't think Kendala did much, and I'm not that impressed with I don't know how to pronounce it, the defender from Sheffield Wednesday that we got. But I just think ours were enforced in so much as, well, obviously Jallo had hurt his hip, but Kyle Joseph had run himself to a standstill, hadn't he? And he was really containing them, and they were finding him hard work. Whereas I don't think when we replaced him, I don't think whoever came on, whether it was Ndala or whether it was Gaby, I don't think they played particularly well. But
I think it's difficult. I think that we're suffering a bit with injuries again at the moment, and I think that players are playing 3 games in a week and things like that, it gets difficult for them. Injuries come in, they're putting a lot of effort in. As you say, Joseph put an awful lot of effort in, ran himself into the ground on Saturday, and then he ran himself into the ground again last night. And it's hard, isn't it? Because you've got a lad from Sheffield Wednesday. Come on, James, you can say his name. You say
Mayo. How would you say it?
Mayo. There you go. For Mayo, I thought he did all right, Jan, when he came on. I think that he was never going to be a Ryan Giles because he's not a left back. But I thought he did all right. He used his physicality on their winger. And let's face it, their winger was the outlet for them all the time. Gilo was as quick as him, luckily. And Mayo was never going to be as quick as him. But he did say, look, I'm here. And he showed him quite early on that he was here. And it did make him think twice about the challenges and the attacking and stuff like that. But I do think it's with the players that we've signed, and I think somebody's put it further up in the chat, and I'll try and find it. It's a bit more on the manager, but with the players that we've signed, we're doing really well because we was under this transfer embargo. We've signed some good players. We've signed some players that have maybe yet to prove themselves a little bit. But I think ultimately we're not too bad. Even strength in depth, probably not as good as Leicester's strength in depth, but I don't think it's bad strength in depth. I've talked for long enough, Chris.
Yeah, on the discussion about Giles, last season, probably from when we first signed him, we've all said his strongest point wasn't defensively, but I thought it was amazing last night.
It was.
I agree.
Considering their winger's supposed to be one of the best in the league, paid a lot of money for him. I think I saw him beat Giles once. He had him in his back pocket.
Yeah.
And on for Menwo's defence, he is a centre-back. He's a big lump of a guy, and he's clearing crosses with his head, not, keeping up with pacey wingers. So I think he did okay, bear in mind that he was playing well out of position. even Gilo at times needed one of the midfielders to come and help double up on the winger. So it was no surprise that Akin needed that as well. But, again, I wouldn't have even called it a game of two halves like you did, Adey. Not like, for example, Preston, where we was dog awful the first half and amazing second half. Yes, we was amazing in the first half, but we didn't go to cock in the second half.
No, we didn't.
We're still creating chances. We still had them on the counter-attack a number of times.
And
But they just came out. They came out with a lot of intensity, knowing there was 2 down and they needed to come and scrap something back. And I think defensively and solidified the full team just was solid, wasn't they? And got men behind the ball, blocking and throwing that, throwing the bodies on the line. Like, again, that team spirit, everybody doing their part to stop Leicester scoring. In the end, was we a bit lucky? Possibly they hit the bar and it was a good goal, but. Like I said, it was for me. It was a dogged second half that was deserved of the win.
Yeah,
if you look at both halves together. So yeah,
I'll take that, Chris. Actually, I agree with you. It was not a game of two halves in that respect. It was just obviously in the first half was absolutely outstanding. And you obviously know that they're going to change some things at halftime, and it's not going to be the same second half. Tiger Neil says that Semi was a huge player for us last night. And I agree. I said when I saw the team that I wouldn't have started him last night because I don't think that Egan's been doing a lot wrong, to be quite honest with you. I think he's been playing quite well. But I watched Semi last night, and he just does a little bit more. Does Semi than Egan does. It's that little footing challenge here and there that just knocks the ball away from him. He's a little bit better on the ball, I think.
He's quicker.
A bit quicker. Yeah. And I think, that definitely showed last night. As Tiger Neil says, it's just a case of keeping him fit because we do need him fit. But Egan is a really good second choice, if that's what we're calling him. So, for me, I'm really happy with how that's worked and how well he came in last night. Sarah's right. We do know how to win without possession. And we was talking about this on the way to the stadium, Paul, weren't we? About the way that football's changed at the moment and people are changing away from this possession-based football and trying to be a bit more direct. And I think it's better to watch. I don't know what you think, Paul.
Well, it's a lot better to watch it. I mean, this season's been a breath of fresh air, really, at home. I mean, last sort of 2 seasons have been dour. We've hardly scored any goals. In fact, I think one game we did. I think we had 1 shot on target not too long ago. It's a lot better now. All right, we're letting a few goals in, which I would like us to get a bit tighter with. But I suppose that's the thing you pay when you're going, forward as much as we are. I mean, the first half yesterday was as good as we've seen for a long while. We could have been 4. I mean, I feel a bit sorry for Joseph because he works tremendously hard, but he's just got no confidence in front of goal. He just doesn't seem to have that killer instinct here. I wish he could get it because yesterday I'm sure he could have had 2 goals. The second one where he howls the ball in for a couple more yards, the defender gets across. A good striker would have shot as soon as he got it under control, would have hit it. And he just hasn't got that confidence. I don't know why. It needs to change in his confidence because he puts so much effort in, does the lad, and he chases. I mean, he got one where he chased it down and had a run on goal, didn't he? Again, it just seems to me as though he's frightened to score a goal. I don't know why. He had a real good flick early on, didn't he? Which the keeper made a good save on. So
to be fair, that little flick that he does and the save by the keeper was a really good shot, and it's a good save by the keeper. And it's a shame that didn't go in because that might have just given him the bit of extra that we needed. Lee says that he thought the atmosphere was great last night at the MKM Stadium, and I agree. Even though the attendance wasn't as big as we've had there, it was a good atmosphere, and the fans tried to get the players over the line by singing and shouting and just trying to give them that extra bit that they needed. And I thought it was one of the better atmospheres that we've had at the stadium just recently. What do you think, James?
I thought it was patchy, to be honest. It was when it was good, it was really good. But I think especially after we conceded the goal, I wanted I was hoping that kind of more of the fans would try and get behind the team when we're sort of we've just conceded the goal. The Leicester fans have kind of found the voices back, and that's the point where we need to really get behind the team and say, look, it's It's fine. You've conceded a goal. You've still got another goal cushion. We can still win the game. You need to push on and do it. And I think, eventually we found our voices back, and it was sort of within like the last, I want to say 10 minutes of the game when we really, really was coming under the caution. There was a goal mouth scramble. I think there was a goal line clearance. The fans really got behind the team at that point in the game. But I did think, potentially if there was a bit more of an energy about the fans just after we'd conceded that goal, there was a possibility, we could have put a bit more energy into the team to maybe go on and score another one.
Yeah, I think it's difficult. I do think it was better last night. I thought there was more singing last night. I'm in the East Stand, so I can only gauge, what's going on where I am. But the East Stand was definitely louder last night than it had been, and there was more noise coming from the East Stand. You can obviously hear the North Stand, but you can't hear it as much in the East as you can when you're in the North Stand. And I thought, it was quite a good atmosphere in the East Stand last night, and it was good to see. And it's like Ken Shep says here. He has a spring in his step going to home games this season, and I'm the same. I'm actually going and looking forward to going to the games because I know that win, lose or draw, you're going to get a full performance from the team. They're all playing for each other, and there's going to be some entertainment there, which is more than what can be said for definitely last. I think probably 2 seasons, if I'm honest. Looking at it, I'm really pleased with that. What's your thoughts on that, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, it's that air of optimism, isn't they? Like we're buzzing again. We're scoring goals, winning at home. Seeing the players put 100% effort in at every game, you can't help but be excited to go and watch the games. So, 100% agree. I'm in the South Stand, and over the last couple of seasons, if the North Stand hasn't got going, then it's that Football in a Library song, isn't it, coming out? But
yeah, I
think there was a couple of games at the back end of last season when we sort of realised how much of a dogfight we were in and picking up points. There was a bit more noise coming from the South Stand, trying to egg players on when you're scrapping, to try and, the Leeds game, for example, springs to mind where, coming back and getting that point. But this season, the noise, there's been I won't call it singing, but certainly a lot more cheering and whistling and that sort of stuff when, we're either creating chances or, Panda's penalty save against Sheffield was in front of us, and the noise from that South Stand, I've never heard anything like it, and I've been in there, I think it's my 4th season in the South Stand. So the noise from a penalty save and when the players are throwing bodies on the line to block shots and stuff, you're getting the cheers and what have you. So I certainly think the atmosphere is better around the stadium this year as well, yeah.
Yeah, I think it is. Jan, you're in the West Stand.
Oh, we don't sing, do we?
Prawn Sandwich Brigade is what David Cross says.
Yeah, well, we do sit in W5, which is where the Prawn Sandwich Brigade is, but we're not corporate, but they don't sing.
Did you not take any prawn sandwiches last night, Jan?
No, but I do. I shout and I sing, and but they're really good at moaning as well, so there's kind of that as well. But I felt like important parts yesterday, the crowd did get behind them, towards the end when they needed a bit of a lift, and but equally on Saturday at Birmingham, and I would say at most grounds we go to, we tend to sing to them, not me personally, but our fans, it's just like a library again. So it's.
I think that's the song of football, isn't it?
It is, and
to wind each other up.
The away fans, are the ones that A, can afford to go, but B, are really passionate, and they sing their hearts out. I mean, I think back to that Sheffield United win last year. I mean, I don't think I had a voice for about a week. My husband loved it. It was great, but we just, it's just fabulous. And I do think the crowd did their part last night. But what I wanted to pick up on was at the end. So there was a lap of honour, and they always end up coming back in. So we always wait for them to come into the West End and down the tunnel. Jarlo obviously had gone off, but he was there at the end, stood. He had a smile like a Cheshire cat, and they were cuddling each other and hugging each other and slapping each other on the back. And for me, that's the big difference. They die for each other. If you needed somebody to, shout for you or to battle for you, they would. I'm absolutely. There's such a togetherness which I haven't seen for ages and ages.
Yeah, Sergey was, Sergey's certainly got that team spirit together and everything, going really well like that. And as Simon says, John's getting his entertaining football at last. And he is getting his entertaining football. And I do like what Sergey has done to the side. I do like the way that they're all together. I do like the way that, Giles has come like a different player this season. He's like, we got a £5 million signing this summer. And he's come into the team, and it just seems that they're all really happy to be here and happy to be working together. And I was listening to the interview after the game last night, and they said that McBurney, he has got a little knock, but he still wanted to play last night. He's still like, I'll play. It's all right, I'll play. And they said, no, you're not playing. We're going to wait for these results to come back just to make sure everything's all right. But he really wanted to play last night, and I think that's the sign of a good team. And it's a team that's together when you want to play, even though you might have a slight knock and things like that. So, I do like the way they've got the team together this season. And it just doesn't seem to be little groups of players. It seems to be the whole team seems to be together and all egging each other on. I was looking at the bench when we were under the cosh late on, and you could see, the lads on the bench was trying to egg the players on. Come on, you can get through it. You can get through to the end of the game and you can get the win. And that's really good to see when the bench are doing that. So it just shows to go it goes to show how together the team are this year and how much difference it's been, not just for the fans but for the football team as well. And that togetherness can carry you a long way, and it's carried us to 7th in the league at the moment. I mean, we're not going to talk about the P word because I don't want to jinx anything, but it's nice to see us up there instead of just hovering above the bottom 3 like last season. Paul, is he there?
Yeah, I mean, I think the manager has to take a lot of credit, to be quite honest. I think he's, well, I'd say probably our best managers for a long while. He's got the team playing good football, and he talks a lot of sense. I think he looks at the other teams and finds weaknesses and what they're not quite as good at as, maybe other things they are good at. And I just think he's been a breath of fresh air, to be quite honest. And I think, that's probably helped somebody like Slater, who has had a lot of stick over the last season or two, passing the ball back and this. But if you've got a manager who wants you to do this, keep the ball at the back, make sure they don't have the ball. He don't want that. He wants them to go forward. He wants attacking football. And I think that's brought a lot of the players on, to be quite honest. I mean, Giles is absolutely thriving under him. I mean,
another assist last night, Paul, wasn't it? Another assist last night. And how many's he got for the season now? Does anybody know?
5, I think.
Was that not his 6th, I think?
That's his 6th, isn't it?
Last season, everybody wanted him out. They was quite happy he went to Middlesbrough. There was hoping Middlesbrough would sign him. I think most people thought if they even signed him for a bit less than we paid for him, we'd be glad to get rid because he was doing nothing. And as you said about his defensive, Chris, last season he let somebody just virtually walk past him and go into the to the area. It's a different place, so it's got to be down to the manager, I think. He hasn't just come back from Middlesbrough and think, I better have a go here. He's a different place, got a smile on his face, as Jan says, comes out patting the badge late on in the match when he'd come off and he'd come back onto the pitch. That's got to be all down to the manager, I think. I really do. I think he's been a breath of fresh air, this manager, and I hope we can keep him a long term. I don't want him, because if he has a bad run, which they probably will do at some stage, you've got to still stick with him because I think the team spirit and everything's just brilliant under him.
Definitely so. There's a couple of things that I've got to mention tonight, and I walked into the Tigers Trust Arena last night, and I saw John Collars me, and he said, "Date for your diary, Adey. I've got a date for your diary." That's what he said, and I said, "Oh, what's this date for my diary?" He said, "It's Monday, the 17th of November, Adey. Hull City Official Supporters Club Meet the Players event. You're hosting." I said, right, okay. And he looked at me as if to say, "Well, what's wrong, Adey?" And I said, "Well, Monday, the 17th of November is my 25th wedding anniversary. And I think if I go to the Hull City Official Supporters Club Meet the Players event, I might be in trouble."
Yeah.
I did say to the wife that she...
26.
No, you're right. And
That's what he said.
I did say to the wife, you can host the event if it makes any difference. And she said that she wasn't up for hosting it. So it looks like it might be somebody else hosting. But you tell us a bit about this event that's going on, Jan.
Well, as you know, the main aim of the supporters club is to bring the club and the fans closer together. So we are sort of at the will of the club to release players to come and talk to us. The last one we did, I think, was at the Good Fellowship, and it was Alfie Jones and Kyle Jersey. So we haven't got the names of the players yet, but they've definitely confirmed the date, and the booking is confirmed. So it's at the Duke of Cumberland in North Ferriby on the 17th of November. I mean, I haven't got much more details than that, other than it'll be free for supporters club members, and there'll be a nominal charge for anybody who isn't a supporters club member.
Usually about £3, isn't it?
Yes, it's not usually that much. And then what we're trying to do also is get sort of meet the coaching team as well, so we get to meet the behind the team, and then also meet the stars of the future. So maybe, some of the academy lads coming through and coming to talk to us. So that's just a date for the diary, and I think there has been a few teasers on social media, but there'll be some more details soon.
That's good, and it'll be a good night. I'm sorry that I can't do it, and I'm just trying to stay married for at least 26 years. But I'm sure it'll be a really good night. They always are good nights, these events, and I really enjoy going to them, hosting them, whatever I'm doing, try and make all of them. There's another couple of events, and it's been announced today by Hull City that the chairman's going to do a question and answers night. It gives you a lot of notice for these things, so if you want a lot of notice, here it is for you. It's this Friday, the 24th, and it is, I think, at 6 o'clock. 5:30 to get in, 6 p.m. start. If you want a ticket, tickets are free and available from 12 o'clock tomorrow using the link on the Hull City website. That's wearehullcity.co.uk. So that's another event that's going on. Me, Paul, Jim and Mike have got a ticket to the 85.
Oh, I've got one as well, yeah.
Reunion night, which is on next week. So Tiger Talk next week will be pre-recorded. It will still be going out. We'll still be here, but we'll be pre-recording it just so that me, Jan, Paul, I'm not sure whether Chris and James have got a ticket, but us three have definitely got a ticket, and we'll be going to that night. So we'll be doing a pre-record, but you'll still be able to watch it on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, wherever you watch it, because we'll be putting it up there. It's just that we'll be talking about we'll be talking to you, but not actually at live time of 7 o'clock, because we'll be down at the MKM Stadium seeing what the 84-85 squad have to say. It's going to be a good night, that one, Jan.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait for it. So, yeah, I mean, my kids are grown up now, but they were mascots during that season, and we've got pictures of them with mascots. With the
Have you really?
Yeah, so it'll be really good, yeah.
Brian Horton back for that night. I really enjoyed talking to Brian Horton. Me and Paul have had the pleasure of having him on Tiger Pop when was doing this radio show, and he was good enough to agree to come on. I went and got my book signed off him down at the stadium. He's such a lovely guy. He's got time for everybody, and true gentleman. He's Brian Horton. So good to see him back at the stadium next week, and I'm looking forward to that one. Did you get a ticket, Chris?
No, that's not one I'm able to attend, I'm afraid. Not that I've been invited to. I've not got a ticket to that one.
Well, you didn't need an invite. It was just on the Hull City website. You just needed to go on there and book your tickets at the right time.
Missed that one then.
Along with there's some behind the scenes next week as well. That is next week, isn't it? Half term.
Open training and all sorts.
Open training, lots of things going on next week. So they are doing a few things again to try and get fans interested, and to try and let you have a look behind the scenes, look at what training's like and all that good stuff. So it sounds like it'll be a good week next week for the club. I think John must have stayed over last night, and that's maybe why he's decided to do a Friday night at the MKM Stadium. He thought I might as well do something while I'm here. Any of you interested in the tickets for Friday night going to watch the chairman? Because we've been asked if anybody's going.
I do normally go, to be fair, when he does these, but me and the wife are at the theatre on Friday night, so I won't be able to attend this one.
Shawshank Redemption.
Correct.
Yes, there you go. I know my stuff, don't I? I might try and get a ticket it's just the time for the tickets are available to be released, whether I can be in front of my computer at that time, because I think the tickets will get snapped up quite quickly. They usually do for these events. Will you want to go, Jan?
Can I say
No.
pass? I'm not sure. I haven't been. I vowed I wouldn't go to another after that one with the fire alarm, but we've not decided yet. If we do, we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah, Paul.
I don't think I'll be that bit busy Friday.
And you, James, then.
No, I've always wanted to go, but the problem is with the nature of my job, I'll probably be out and about, and then also I finish at 5 o'clock as well. So it'd be tough for me to get from Hessel Road area to get to the stadium. So
it is tight, and it is very short notice, which these things are. We'll move on to Saturday now, where we're going to be facing Charlton at the MKM Stadium, 2 home games in a row. It's another big challenge, this, because they're up and about us as well. I got a comment earlier. I'll try and find it, that Charlton will be a more difficult challenge than what Leicester was last night. What do you think to that, Paul?
I don't know if they'll be more difficult. I mean, Leicester are a good team. A lot of ex-Premier League players in the team. I mean, we just played really well the first half. They came out second half and, took it to us a little bit. I think Charlton, it'll be a hard game. There's no easy games in the Championship. You're kidding yourself if there is. Some teams have off days and you might have a good win, but there's no easy games. I mean, was it Oxford that came here, didn't look that brilliant, and then they go and beat Bristol, who looked a decent, was doing well at the time. So there's no easy games in the Championship. So I don't know why anybody thinks it'll be more difficult. It will be difficult. They're on a good run. I think did they win 3-0 last night away from home?
Ipswich. They haven't lost there all season.
They're no bugs. It'll be. And it was Ipswich, wasn't it? Who probably was everybody's favourites to be in the top 6, I would think. And
they're on a similar run to us at the moment. I mean, they've won 3 of the last 5. They've lost 1 and drawn 1. We're exactly the same. We've won 3 of the last 5. We've drawn 1 and lost 1. So we're on a very similar run. We're both on 18 points. They've got a slightly better goal difference than us. It's all meant for a great game again down at the MKM Stadium, isn't it, James?
Yeah, no, it'll be a clashing of the two sort of great underdog stories of the season, I think. I mean, we was written off to the bottom of the Championship, and so was they being, the lowest placed promoted team this season. So they have spent some money, obviously, but it's pittance really compared to what the other 2 promoted teams spent. And like you said, they're on a good run. Completely agree with what Paul said. There's no easy games in the Championship, and you've just got to take each one as they come. I mean, from what I do know about Charlton, they seem to be one of the better defensive teams in the league. So I don't think it's going to be easy from our perspective, to try and break them down. It's going to take a lot of work. But I think we've got more than enough quality in the players to be able to score a few goals against them. So it's just whether or not we can keep them out of our net as well, as it is in any game.
Yeah, they've conceded 9 goals this season. Hull City have only conceded 19 goals this season. But it will be good, as Sarah says, to see Greg Doherty back at the MKM Stadium again. I think, we're all sort of nodding on you. What do you think, Chris? Was you a Greg Doherty fan?
I really liked him, to be fair, yeah. And actually, I was really surprised when we let him go. Was it just a year ago? It was under Mr. W, wasn't it? And reading about his philosophy and how he wanted to play, wanted that high energy. Looking at the midfielders we had at the time, I was really surprised that they let him go because he would have fitted the mould. They've also got a Mr. Reece Beck in their squad. And I had to do a double take when I looked at their team lineup a week or 2 ago. I thought I saw Abel Hernandez, but it's Oval Hernandez or something like that. So they've got a certain Mr. Hernandez who I thought was Abel Hernandez coming back to haunt us. But no, Greg Doherty, he was a great player, great servant to our club. Was it about 5 years-ish? Maybe 6 he was with us.
Yeah. It was a great servant and part of that promotion-winning team from League One, wasn't he? He was a great servant for the club. I like Greg Doherty. I think that he was the same. He got a lot of knockers at times as well, but I think he always put a lot of effort in, and if you want grafters around, Sergei liked him because he wants grafters in his team, people that can put the effort in and can run all day. And I had the interview last night, and it said that if you're not willing to run, you're not going to be at Hull City because we don't want you. You've got to be willing to run, and Greg Doherty will run all day and all night. Sue says, Will Mannion, there's another one. And also, I missed this comment here. Louise said that she'd be happy with a draw on Saturday. And I think we said that coming away last night, Paul, didn't we? We said that, we'd be happy with a draw because we'd have took 4 points from the Leicester game and the Charlton game.
Yeah, definitely. I think, we will. You just got to, as James said, you've got to take every game as it comes, play the game, and just hopefully come out on top and get the 3 points. We've had a really good start to the season, haven't we? 18 points at the moment. If we can get another win, I think, it's excellent, but Charlton have been no pushovers. I mean, Reece Beck, it was in the Luton team that went up, wasn't he? So, and he played well for us. As we know, Greg Doherty, as you say, will run all day. So, if we get 3 points out of it, I think it'll be brilliant. 4 wins on the trot. Unbelievable for a team that's supposed to be going to get relegated. So,
would be amazing. I mean, that's sort of Coventry territory there. They've won the last 5. They're on their 25 points now. They've got 31 goals for. But when you look at us in 7th position, 19 goals for, it's the thing that's making me happy is that we're scoring more goals this season. I know we've conceded a few, but I am happy because it's nice. I mean, it's great to cheer. And I heard you saying, Chris, earlier about, the South Stand and stuff like that. When the goals went in last night, the stadium, I watched it back and the stadium seemed to erupt when them goals went in. So, and that has a big effect on the players. And, I think the players bounce off that and they feed off that and they're doing really well because of it. So, it's going to be another hard game at the MKM. But hopefully, as you say, Paul, if it's another one we can come out and win, 4 games on the bounce would be amazing. Sarah said she's take a 1-1, or she's probably predicting a 1-1. And I'd take a 1-1 straight away. I'd be happy with that. Jan's shaking her head. She wants a 0-0.
No, I don't. I want a win. I love Doc. Not only was he, he gave his all, he was a nice bloke as well. I want a respect fan. He'll be too busy doing his hair, won't he, with all whatever he does on his hair and that. But I know what people say when they say it'd be a harder game. I think they'll be physical like us. And they've got no stars, have they, like, as we haven't. But I think that the collective, again, will be, they'll play for each other. Hopefully, they were saving McBurney for Saturday. That's what I'm
I think there probably was saving McBurney for Saturday. John says that we've not had 4 wins in a row since 27th of November 2021. So that 4 wins in a row would be a really big thing. And Sarah goes back on a 1-1 and she says, go on then, let's have a Charlie Hughes last-minute winner with a header. And I would definitely take that. Yes, I like them last-minute ones or the last couple of minutes where they've not got a chance to score to get back at us. I do like them ones, and it makes me a little bit less nervous when we do it that way, because Hull City have this habit of making me very nervous at times, and it's always fun being a Hull City fan. Let's have a look what Matthew's saying. He's going 2-1 again on Saturday, and he might even stick a tenner on it. Jim did have a 2-1 last night. Jim's my father-in-law, sits with us, and he had it as 2-1. I think he said he got 14-1 last night for a 2-1. So I'm not sure how much he put on. It would have been a lot knowing that tight also and so. So he won't have got that much back, but he'll have definitely got 14 quid back, even if he's put a quid on, won't he? Or 15, Paul, because you can wear that out in your head, can't you?
Gets his £1 back as well, yeah. So
£1 back as well. Yeah.
I think Mike tried to upset us on the way out last night, though, because he said we did have 3 wins on the trot under a certain German manager last year.
I said that it was me that said that, not Mike. Yeah. I'd seen the stat had come up that we did have 3 wins on the bounce with him last season, but we weren't playing football half as good as we are doing this season. So you sort of going. I think there was maybe slightly lucky wins, some of those as well under the German, whereas this. There might have been a slight bit of luck involved, but I do think there's an awful lot more team effort in there than there was last season. So that's the thing that gets you over the line. and it has been getting us over the line in the last few games. We've got 1 minute and a little bit left on the show tonight. I think it's been a really good show. It'd been nice to talk about some wins. We'll be doing it next Wednesday, as I say, pre-recording. Hopefully, we can be talking about a win on Saturday as well. And I think we'll all be there. What were you going, Chris?
On Saturday, I am indeed.
Are you going, James?
Yeah, of course I am.
And you, Jan, will definitely be there with the other prawn sandwich brigade. If you are taking some prawn sandwiches, I am partial to a prawn sandwich, Jan. So, pass one my way.
Have you got a quick half minute for me to tell you? You know, we were in Turkey last week.
Yeah, go on, half a minute.
John had his away shirt on, and not normally, he had the badge on of it. And normally they'll say, Hull City, Ashun. And we were coming out of the dining room, and this waiter said, Hull City, McBurney.
Yeah, he's loved all over the place. He's Ollie McBurney, isn't he? Are you going to join us, Paul?
What, on Saturday?
Yes.
I will be there. Yes, definitely.
Yes. Paul will be there. I'll be there. John will be there. Chris will be there. James will be there. We're all going to be there. And let's hope that we're talking about a win. We'll be back next Wednesday, 7:00 here with the carmusgo.co.uk. Mike, I'll tell them next week what they've got to look for on that, because you did send me a message and I forgot to do it, but we'll do it next week for you. Thanks to you, James.
Cheers, Eddie.
Thanks, Jan.
Thank you.
Cheers, Chris.
Thank you.
Good night, Paul.
Good night, son.